The rhythmic hum of the plane's engines filled the cabin, offering a peaceful sound as Sarah Alston settled into her comfortable first-class seat. The soft leather cradled her shoulders, and she exhaled deeply. After a week packed with nonstop meetings, strategic discussions, and high-pressure talks, the silence felt like a rare luxury. She leaned back against the window, watching the fading sunlight stretch across the runway, casting long, golden rays over the tarmac. This flight wasn't just a simple journey. It was a moment of respite, something she had worked tirelessly for. To anyone else, Sarah might have appeared as just another well-dressed executive in her early 40s. But Sarah was far more than that. She was the founder and CEO of Alton Tech, a rapidly growing tech company making waves in the global market. Hailing from a modest background in Cleveland, Ohio, she had fought her way up through a system that had never planned on making space for someone like her. Every achievement she had, every opportunity she seized, had been hard-earned. This flight was meant to mark a turning point, a major deal with a multinational company based in Paris that would open the doors to European markets. Once the agreement was finalized, it could quadruple Alton Tech's valuation. The seat she was sitting in wasn't just a seat. It was a symbol of her success, a visual representation of her determination. She had specifically chosen it weeks before. The cabin smelled faintly of lemon-scented polish and floral perfumes. A flight attendant passed by with a tray of chilled beverages, and Sarah accepted a glass of sparkling water with a nod, her demeanor calm and collected. She didn't need to draw attention. Her mere presence spoke volumes. But, as always, perfection was temporary. A subtle but unmistakable disturbance came from the front of the cabin. A woman, tall and confidently poised, entered the first-class section. Her platinum blonde hair shimmered under the cabin lights, and she was followed by a shorter companion who carried an oversized designer bag, one that likely cost more than Sarah's entire first apartment. "Can you believe this?" the blonde woman muttered to her companion with a tone dripping in disdain. "I always sit in 1A. This must be an error." Sarah, not one to indulge in conflict, returned her focus to her tablet. She had seen this behavior countless times before, the entitlement, the expectation that the world should bend to someone's preferences. She wasn't interested in engaging. The woman stopped beside Sarah's row. Her name, as Sarah would later find out, was Clara Wexley, a wealthy socialite turned lifestyle entrepreneur. Clara was the type who believed the world existed to serve her needs. "Excuse me," Clara snapped, her voice sharp. Sarah raised an eyebrow and slowly looked up, her expression unbothered. "Yes," Sarah responded, keeping her tone neutral. "There's been a mistake," Clara said, gesturing towards Sarah's seat. "Always book 1A. This must be a mix-up." Sarah held up her boarding pass without hesitation. "I reserved this seat weeks ago," she said. Clara's smile was cold and humorless. "Well, I'm a VIP member of Skyfly Airlines. I always fly first class, and this seat is mine," she declared. "You might be more comfortable in business class." Sarah didn't flinch. "I'm perfectly comfortable here," she said, her voice even. The flight attendant, sensing the tension, approached. "Is there an issue?" he asked, his tone cautious. "She's in my seat," Clara snapped before Sarah could respond. "I demand this be fixed immediately." Sarah calmly handed the attendant her boarding pass. He checked it and cleared his throat. "This seat is assigned to Ms. Alston," he said. Clara's face tightened. "She must have been upgraded or something," she muttered under her breath. Sarah calmly responded, "I suggest you take your assigned seat." Clara's companion, a quiet woman who had remained mostly silent up until now, tugged at her sleeve. "Let's not make a scene," she suggested softly. But Clara was determined. "You don't understand who I am," she hissed. Sarah looked at her, expression calm, and responded with quiet strength, "Oh, I think I do." Before Clara could retort, Sarah picked up her phone and made a call. "Yes, this is Sarah Alston. I'm on flight 204, and I'm being asked to give up the seat I paid for in favor of someone who believes they are entitled to it." She paused, her voice steady. "Please escalate this issue." The attendant's eyes widened as Sarah hung up the phone, her words cutting through the air with a clear sense of finality. Within minutes, the plane was delayed. Passengers glanced around, sensing the rising tension. Soon, two sharply dressed men with briefcases boarded the aircraft and made their way to the flight crew. 10 minutes later, Clara was seated in 3B, her face flushed with anger, while the flight attendants and supervisor were no longer on the plane. Corporate had made a decision. Both attendants were relieved of duty, pending an investigation into inappropriate conduct. Sarah didn't say a word. She didn't need to. As the plane taxied down the runway, Clara sat in her seat, fuming quietly. By the time the aircraft lifted off, her elite status had been revoked. An email notification informing her of the decision reached her moments before takeoff. Sarah gazed out of the window, her mind not on the scene that had just unfolded, but on something larger. She had never been one for vengeance or drama. For her, this moment was about something deeper, about justice being done in silence through quiet defiance. Weeks later, Skyfly Airlines publicly announced sweeping reforms to their passenger treatment protocols, including new diversity training and bias awareness programs. Although no names were mentioned, the industry knew exactly who had made this change possible. Sarah Alston, the woman in seat 1A. As the plane soared above the clouds, Sarah remained lost in thought. This wasn't just about Clara Wexley or the flight attendants who mishandled the situation. It was about the countless moments where she, and others like her, had to prove they belonged. Sometime after crossing the Atlantic, the captain came to her row. He was polite and respectful. "Ms. Alston," he said, his voice low, "I just want to thank you for the way you handled things today. The way you stood your ground. It was a masterclass in dignity." Sarah nodded slightly. "Thank you, Captain. And thank you for stepping in when it mattered." He hesitated, then asked, "If you don't mind me asking, your call earlier, that wasn't to a customer service line, was it?" Sarah smiled, a faint but knowing grin. "No, I'm on the advisory board for Skyfly's Global Innovation Task Force. I co-chaired their recent review on ethical practices in AI implementation." The captain straightened. "I see," he said, and Sarah gave him a reassuring look. "I'm not here to burn the ship," she said gently, "but it does need a new direction." That night, Sarah didn't sleep. Instead, she drafted a comprehensive policy paper on bias in first-class treatment, titled The First Class Filter. By the time the plane landed in Paris, the document was ready for distribution. Her meeting with the European conglomerate went smoothly, and the partnership deal went through, boosting Alton Teka's prospects significantly. But even amid the celebrations, Sarah's thoughts kept returning to the flight. It was a reminder that her work wasn't just about deals, it was about breaking barriers. Upon returning, Sarah made calls to Skyfly's CEO, a law professor, and her team to develop an AI tracking discriminatory patterns. Operation 1A gained momentum, leading to changes in Skyfly's policies and the viral hashtag 1A belongs to her. Sarah's quiet defiance sparked a movement and secured her place in history.